Today I'm going to show you how I became a high frequency person and was able to attract everything I desired in my life to me rather than having to chase it and find like I was getting nowhere. Was never able to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve and spent a lot of time down here. Fear, grief, apathy, guilt and shame. A lot of time, like most people, in those emotions, and how I have changed my mind, the way I feel, my frequency, to in turn change my reality, to live closer to enlightenment, peace, joy and love. Live in these emotions, which in turn gives you the real world reality that you want. Now, most people get stuck because they think of life like this. And this is how I used to think of things. External event. If I get external thing, Lamborghini, money, successful business, hot woman, I will then have the desired frequency. I'll feel peace, joy, love, acceptance, and I'll have my desired reality. I'll have the things in my world that I want. Now, the people that actually get what they want, whether they know this or not, reality wizards, they first go to desired frequency. They rise up out of fear, guilt, grief, and they go towards peace, joy and love. And once they have reached that desired frequency, they can then welcome the reality and the desired external event, whether that be car, house, money, accolades. The thing that you want, the business, the woman, the girl, all that sort of stuff. The only reason you want these things is to feel a different way. You want the car so you can sit in the Ferrari and feel accomplished. You want the woman so you can feel loved. However, external events, external things never impact on the level that we think they will. They never impact unless you've done the inner work. And this video is how you do the inner work, how you unlock a high frequency first, so you can be happy right now, so you can be proud right now, so you can be loved right now by yourself, so you do not need the external reality. And once you do not need the external reality, you can welcome the external reality in. The universe will give you what you want. We cannot have things that we do not already have. It's one of the laws of the universe. In desiring something, in truly wanting something, in making it the biggest thing in the world, we normally go towards these emotions. Desire, it's not very high up on vibrational frequency. We normally have some guilt, some shame that we don't already have those things, and fear that we're not going to get them. Desiring something, really wanting it, is not actually the key to ever getting it. Not needing it. Once you do not need the thing that you want, then you can have it. And it's okay, because that's actually fairly easy to do, which I'm going to explain. First, we have to change the frequency. Once you've got the right frequency, you've achieved the result that you wanted. You've achieved the feeling that the thing was going to get you. It's no longer important. And once it's no longer important, it's far easier to get. Why is this? And that's rule number one. Do not need what you need. Chasing money, women, desires, causes them to run. You see this all the time. If you chase after something, if you are needy, if you beg, it is not the correct frequency to welcome that thing into your life. You've probably had it multiple times in your life, something that you really needed to pull off. You really wanted this girl, and you chased her and you texted her over and over again, and she ran away. A job that you really wanted. I remember times in my life I really needed a job. I really, really wanted one specific job, and I begged for this job, and they wouldn't hire me because the frequencies don't match. You can't have what you need. You already have to have, and then you can have more of it. So to attain a new reality, to make this easier for you, you must first change your frequency. I'm going to teach you how to do that, how you can change your frequency today during this video. And I'll tell you a quick story about how I first discovered this. For anyone that doesn't know, nearly 4 years ago now, I moved to Thailand, and I'd quit my 9-to-5, saved up some money, and I moved to Thailand to go all in on my dream, which was to become a content creator and make videos. However, when I got there, it was difficult. It was hard. And I really, really wanted it. I really needed to succeed. And I was driving myself crazy. I wasn't enjoying any of the freedom. The life that I'd once wished for was simply to be free, to ride a motorbike around, to be able to go to the beach and work out and make content. But I wasn't happy with that because I didn't have the result from it. I wasn't rich from it. Nobody watched my videos yet. And so I decided I wasn't going to be happy until I'd achieved that thing. And this got so bad that I got to a point where I'd spent all my money and not made any back. And I took out my last $5,000 on a credit card. And for some reason, I think I was just tired of feeling stressed, tired of feeling scared. I just decided that I wasn't going to feel those emotions anymore. I decided instead I was going to enjoy my last $5,000 and I was going to act in the way that I would act if I was the successful person I wanted to become. But I would enjoy what I had right there and then. I'd be grateful for the fact that I had a roof over my head, that I was living my dream reality, that I could get on a motorbike, get a tan, go in the gym, meet new people. And I was happy. I just decided one day I'm going to be happy. No matter what happens, I'm just going to be happy with what I have right now. And I'm going to do the actions of the person that I would be if I had the things I want. And sure enough, within a month of being $5,000 in credit card debt, I had my first few videos blow up on YouTube. Started my first online program and I've made $10,000 in a single month. And that was a big trigger moment for me that there's something going on here in my mind that affects my reality. And as I've grown over the last 4 years, I've realized this to be true in a lot of different realms, and also how you get to this point, which I'm going to break down now. That brings us on to rule number 2. Be kind to yourself. How can you expect reality, the universe, other people to give you what you want, to treat you with respect, to treat you with kindness, to give you love, if you do not love yourself? If you live in fear of yourself? Most people speak to themselves in an incredibly nasty way. They look at themselves in the mirror and they pick apart their flaws. There is no love there. There is no confidence there. And you would not work for someone. You would not listen to someone that treats you that way. But most people treat themselves that way in their heads, which is in turn reflected in reality. Now, why do we do that? Why do most people not live with joy, peace, and acceptance high up on the vibrational frequencies, which in turn allows them to attract those same frequencies into their life? Why do they instead live in desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame? Why is that? Because you do not trust yourself. You do not trust yourself because you don't do the things you say you are going to do when you say you are going to do them. So you have lied to yourself on such a repeated spectrum that you have now become abusive of yourself, because you look back and every dream you want, everything you want to change, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you are saying, you can't do that. Why? Because the other times you told me you were going to do it. Like yesterday when you told me you were not going to eat that thing, but you ate it, or you're going to wake up at this time and you didn't. When you did that, I stopped trusting you. I stopped believing in you. And that's what's happened in your mind, which is why you cannot be kind to yourself, because you don't trust yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, other people cannot trust you. Other people cannot love you, because it all comes from within. It is a mirror. Reality is a mirror of what you have become. I discovered this for myself the first time I ever took mushrooms in Thailand. When I was on Koh Phangan, the island of Koh Phangan. It's kind of like a hippie island. Not many people there. Very, very chill. I'd never done mushrooms before, and I met this guy. And he said, oh, we could go up to the mountains together. There's this mushroom shack. We can do a shake, come back down, hang out on the beach. And I thought, oh, that's a fun thing to do. That sounds awesome. That sounds hippie. That sounds adventurous. I'm in. Did it. Life-changing experience. Didn't expect the wisdom that I received on that day. But I was told very clearly in my mind's eye when I was sitting on the beach and I looked onto the horizon, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And I started thinking, why is my life not the way I want it to be? And I had a very clear disconnect between my desires and my action inside of my life. My desire was to be a content creator, to be in the best shape of my life, to have money, to have success. But my actions, I wasn't making any content. I was stuck. I feared failure so much, I wasn't doing it. And instead of doing that, I wanted to live in a different version of reality. So I was drinking alcohol and I was seeing multiple women at the same time. to try and feel the way I wanted to feel. And this mushrooms has an interesting way of revealing the curtain. I'm not advising for or against mushrooms, but it has an interesting way of pulling back the curtain. And I could see what now appears obvious, that I was making the wrong choice. That if I wanted to live in that reality, I had to first be that reality, which meant I had to act in alignment with it. So that is how we fix not loving ourselves, is through self-mastery. If we can master ourselves, we can master our frequency, then in turn we can affect reality. We can master the world that we live in. And this is very, very simple. You can start doing this today. You can rebuild it today, and it might not happen all at once. But if you follow this for the next 30 days, you will start to achieve self-mastery, and you will start to see the rest of the world conform to what you want and give you what you want. So, number one, from this day forward, you only say you're going to do something if you are going to do it. If you're not going to do it, don't say it. You have to be very careful with your word. Don't make promises you cannot keep. Make less promises for starters, and make very, very small promises. And if you don't know 100% you can keep a promise, do not make it to yourself. That's the most important thing, let alone other people promising and lying to them, to yourself. Just fix 3 things per day. 3 promises that you can keep. I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to do this thing and this thing. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to eat 4 eggs. You do that for 7 days. You will see a change in your confidence and your frequency. You will start to believe in yourself again. As those things become easy for you, you change the advancement. You change how difficult it is to complete the promise, and you stick to the promise. You do this through a year, and you are a different person operating on a high frequency. You now have love for yourself, which means other people can love you. And you now live in your desired reality, frequency, in your mind, which brings you everything you want. Now, on this journey, you have to make sure you are not sidetracked by adversity, because it's coming, okay? But the good thing about adversity is that there is nothing that is good or bad. Events are just events. It is our mindset, it is our frequency that gives it emotional weight, that makes it true. So I want to tell you to be careful of when you first run into adversity, when you are mastering yourself. Many, many times I ran into adversity becoming the person I wanted to be. When things do not go your way. Now the problem is, these are little tests from the universe. Do you give this thing importance? Are you the person you said you were? Or are you pulled right back down into these emotions where you should live, in your fearful, grief-filled reality? Or have you ascended this to peace, joy, and love? And that's why you must smile in the face of adversity always, because it does not exist. Good or bad does not exist. I can tell you this for sure, because every great thing in my life has come from a bad thing. The misery I felt in my 9 to 5 caused me to change my life. Every loss I have sustained has made me a better man. So now when adversity comes, it does not change any of this consciousness. It does not change my frequency. Because when adversity comes, I can smile, I can feel joy, I can feel peace and love, because I know it is simply a lesson, and I will take that lesson and I will make it positive. Now, once you can smile in the face of adversity, you can take extreme ownership for everything in your life. This is an absolute necessity. You can only control you, and reality is a mirror. So anywhere in your life right now you blame not having your desired reality on somebody else is a place where you are losing power. And you feel anger because you cannot control it. You can only fix what you can control, and you can only control your mind. That's the only thing you have control over in reality. That's the only thing that can change your life, is your control of your mind. But if you instead use acceptance to depower anger on this emotional chart, by taking responsibility and ownership for everything that goes wrong in your life, everything that has happened to you up until now, then you are free to move on. Then you are free to go to your desired reality. Most people can't do that because they feel guilt, they feel grief, fear, desire, anger. They feel all of these things. They blame other people for their reality they're in right now, which gives them zero control. So in order to control everything and really change your life, you must first take ownership of everything. You must know that everything is your fault, no matter what, on what level. Everything happens for a reason, and you use these two things to be able to do that, to realize nothing bad is actually bad. And when nothing bad is actually bad, it's very easy to take ownership of everything in your life. Now, once you have done that, you can really start to expand your life with your high frequency. Attract the woman you desire, the job, the money, the car, because you no longer need it. Because through doing this, you've realized you have reached a high frequency. You have reached love for yourself. And that was what you wanted from these things. And now you've got these things, you can have them in reality, because you cannot have what you don't already have. Through doing this, you now have everything you need. You would be happy if you could just trust yourself and you were a master of yourself and you take responsibility for your life and nothing gets you down and you smile in the face of adversity. You can handle anything, and therefore you don't need anything, and therefore you can have everything. How do you expand this? You use abundance. You already have these things, so you give them away. Once you give them away, you can get them back. Double, triple, 10x what you had originally. If you want money, you become a source of money. You might think, how do I do that? I've got no money. Whatever you do have, you give. So when I was in Thailand and I was broke, I always used to make sure I tipped very heavily. I tipped to people, because you cannot have what you don't have. When you desire something, you widen the gap between you having it. You tell the universe that you do not have it. I would act in a way as if I had the things that I want. You want money, you give money, you become a source of money. No matter how small that can be, everybody can do that. If you only have $10, you give $1 away. Instead of holding on to that $1, you now live in a place of abundance to welcome in more. You want love, you give love away. Do we ever love people that hate themselves, destructive to be around, moody, guilty, shame-filled? No, we don't. Who do we love? The people that love us. The people that provide love are a source of love, are the most loved people around. In order to get what you want, you give what you want, and then you get it in return. That is what abundance is. You want joy, become a source of joy, and you shall get it returned. You want peace, become a source of peace in someone else's life on a small scale every single day. When I was in Thailand, I remember one specific time I gave away, I think it was something like $50, $20 to $50, I can't remember. At the time I didn't have too much money. $20 to $50 I gave away to a guy playing guitar, Thai guy in the street. Because I love music, I love guitar, and it just gave me something, and I loved it. And so I gave him that money, not for any reason other than to show my appreciation to his music and help him. And my phone went off a couple of minutes after I'd given that money, and I'd just done 3 sales of a program I had an offer at that time, which had maybe like $300. And my $50 had just turned into $300. This has happened to me more times than I care to admit. This is how reality works. So to recap, you want to live your life close to enlightenment. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to get there yet. I've found elements of peace, joy, love, reason, acceptance, willingness, neutrality, courage. I've found areas to live in this area. That's where you want to be living your life. That's where, if you can live here, if you can first reach the desired frequency using this, reality will catch up and you'll get the desired outcome. But you must live up here. And this is what stops you or helps you live up here, the things we just talked about. What you want to look at in your life is where you're feeling shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, and anger and pride. Those are the lowest emotions that you can have. And this is where most people live. And once you can unlock and go from here to living up here, you no longer need the things that you thought you needed. Don't need what you need. When you no longer need those things, you can finally have them, and they will be fulfilling because you're already fulfilled. That's why a rich person can be unfulfilled, even once they get all the things, because it's the inner work that has to be done. that unlocks everything. You already reach the period you thought you were going to reach when you're rich, before you're rich. And then once you're rich, you can use that. You can be abundant in money. You can have a fantastic life and you can be happy. But if you never achieve this, no matter how much you achieve, it will be worthless. No matter how much you get, because some of you might sit there and think, well, this isn't true. Some people that are super miserable, they get all these things. That's fine. But their things don't mean anything. You can have all the money in the world. If you are miserable and you live down here, you do not live the desired reality. You thought that the external thing was going to give it to you. And now you have the external thing and realized you didn't get what you wanted. But actually, you can have the desired frequency right now. Guys, it's been a pleasure. And I'll see you on the next one. Whoop-ow!